We want to keep 1 billion pounds of plastic from ever being made. And I want to do that every year.
Plastic revolutionized the world. Now it threatens it. For some people, that's depressing. But for the next generation of changemakers, it's the inspirational challenge of a lifetime. Come with us on a journey to meet the businesses, innovators, scientists, and social activists who spend every day in a relentless pursuit to create life after plastic.
Just beneath the breathtaking British Columbian Rockies is an upstart company with an audacious goal: replacing 1 billion pounds of plastic waste every year with its fully compostable plastic alternative made from the leftover shells of flax straw. For now, their main consumer product is phone cases, but eventually the possibilities are endless. But it's not enough to have the technology to replace plastic if people don't understand why they need to replace it.
It's like the whole climate problem or the climate crisis or the climate, whatever the frick you want to call it, all of the conversations are focused on carbon and energy. And that, for a lot of people, is an attack on a way of life. It's become this black and white thing. It's like, we should have no oil. Well, that's probably not realistic. But you can't say that. You either need to say, like, you're for it or you're against it. So that we've politicized climate by focusing on carbon and climate change. You know, and my problem with it is, like, the average person doesn't get up in the day and, like, wipe climate or carbon off their skin. They don't taste it, they don't see it, they can't feel it. The path for me to taking it away from the politics conversation is to talk about waste.
Look at the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. That's just a great example of, like, our throwaway trash not actually getting thrown away. The word away doesn't really mean anything. Nothing actually ever goes away, and plastic is included in that.
25% of our world's climate or sustainability issues is carbon, it's energy. The other 75% is waste. That's steel, it's cement, it's plastic, it's stuff.
Stuff like cell phones. 5 billion people have one. 75% of them have cases. Where do these cases go when they're replaced by the next phone? The landfill, where they will either degrade over the course of several 100,000 years or be burned, adding an extreme amount of new pollution to the air. It's the first of countless problems Pila's revolutionary bioplastic technology is poised to solve.
Christmas of 2008, we were on vacation in Kauai, and my wife and our son, who was a year and a half at the time, and we were digging in the sand, and there were, like, little pieces of plastic everywhere, and that really bothered me. Like, I was wondering, who's littering? Like, where's this litter coming from? Well, it's pretty sad when you see it washing up on beaches, and, you know, like, plastic is an amazing material, but we just got to figure out a better way to do the beginning of life to make it from renewable resources and have a better end of life so it doesn't last for hundreds or thousands of years, and that's what we're trying to do here.
When Jeremy got home from Hawaii, he started thinking about a solution. Biopolymers were an option, but they were far too brittle to realistically replace plastic. Then he started experimenting with the remarkably strong and resilient flax straw common to the Canadian prairies where he grew up, and Pila was born.
The flax is from Canadian prairies, left over after the flax oilseed harvest. So instead of farmers burning their flax straw, it gets processed, and then we get it processed in such a way that it can work in our formula. And same thing with hemp. We find kind of the best biopolymers that are out there, and then we combine it with our flax material. So our intellectual property is in how we get the flax processed and how we get it to work with that material. So we send our flax to a compounding company, and they have the biopolymer, and they mix it up with our material, and then we get it in pellet form, and then we can injection mold that to make our phone cases and other products.
It's one thing to have technology solutions to replace plastic. It's another thing to overcome economic and behavioral factors that entrench plastic in the lives of billions worldwide.
If we're going to ask somebody to buy our case over another case, it needs to be as good as the other case. What that means to us is, like, at the start of pretty much every product that we get into, we do not make as much money as our competitors do. We don't have the economies of scale. Let's face it, man, our material is way more money to manufacture than traditional like oil-based resins. That's just reality. It will get better over time. But for now, to ask the consumer to do the right thing without us as a company being willing to do what we consider the right thing, yeah, that's kind of bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of all comes back to the customer and making that choice. If more people choose sustainable products, more businesses will be forced to or want to make more sustainable products.
We don't really need a handful of people being zero wasters perfectly. We need 1 million people doing it imperfectly.
Our major goal is to eliminate 1 billion pounds of plastic from the waste stream.
So like this big human waste stream that we all participate in, we buy stuff at the top and we produce waste at the bottom. You know, like we're gonna produce better stuff at the top, and at the same time, we're gonna go and clean stuff up from the bottom. And I think 5, 10 years from now, I'd love to be doing that to the effect of like 1 billion pounds of waste every year is just kept out of the waste stream. That would be my hope.
Next time on Life After Plastic, we visit 3 of the most innovative companies in the world of plastic recycling.